interesting going on at our club. Interesting goings on. We've got Ruud van Nistelrooy that had rejected a job as the Burnley manager to become our assistant coach. We have the Go Ahead Eagles manager who is quitting his job after just signing a new deal as their manager to become another one of our coaches. It looks like the likes of I was going to say Van Gerwen, he's a darts player, Van Gaal, whatever his name was, Benny McCarthy and Steve McLaren are going. So Ineos and co clearing house in terms of the coaching staff. What do you boys make of this action by Man United? A new deal for the manager, which is going to change his role from manager to head coach. His coaching staff essentially being sacked and a brand new level of coaches being introduced. Thoughts and feelings on that?
I think, following on from what we were saying on the show the other day, I think United are moving very, very shrewdly. I think you can see the blueprint from Ineos slowly but surely coming together. And I think it's a crucial change from manager to head coach for Ten Hag. I think it alleviates a lot of his pressures. He can focus just on the football and, get down to brass tacks. The idea that he's filling it up with his team is being filled with fellow Dutchmen is a good idea. It'll suit his style. Honestly, I really think United are, I hate to say it, but they're moving very nicely and very shrewdly. And most importantly, it's like there's no real drama around them at the minute. It's kind of all quieting down. There's no like circus, which in previous years and summers has been the case with United. So yeah, moving very well. I think United fans should be excited.
The best thing to do is to already have a Ten Hag replacement in-house ready to go. So that's what it seems like to me when you go get Ruud van Nistelrooy, somebody who's already worked with the club and has managerial experience, won a league title already in the Eredivisie. And Terry, if something happens to Ten Hag, you now seem like you might have a succession plan on the next manager in the case that he has to leave. You have somebody there in-house that could at least be a stopgap until you find another manager.
It's funny because when a lot of us felt Ten Hag was going to go in sort of the February-ish time, when there was a lot of talk of him going, and people were saying, well, should we get an interim? Ruud was one of the managers that I said, look, he's out of work at the minute. He left PSG, he's sort of floating about. I said, bring him in as an interim. So I'm up for that. I think what you said could be true. Definitely could be an element of him being able to step into that role and position because he has been a manager before. But I think this is very much about the club trying to get a high caliber of coach, but a particular style of play embedded at the football club from top to bottom that matches and suits. And the manager, I think, has been told, and I'm happy that he's accepted it and he's willing to sign this new deal, that look, we're not, everything we've been doing in the last two years under you is gone. It's all being ripped up. We're going to have a particular style of play that we want you to try and coach and implement, but we're providing the recruitment team, we're providing the coaching staff. And it's funny because if I've reading the report today, that this mirrors very closely what Manchester City have in place. And again, that isn't, some will say, United are copying City to a degree, because City are following a model that most of the clubs that are not led by their manager and they're led at sporting director level and above, this is the type of hierarchy system they have in place. This idea, I understand that some managers, if they're very successful and have a group of coaches around them, you keep them, but only for a certain period of time. We've seen, for one reason or another, Pep's changed these coaches that have been around him. Fergie regularly changed coaches and assistant managers over the years to keep things fresh, keep new ideas, to ensure that modern tactics were being brought into your training. All these things are important. So I really like the approach. I agree with what Paddy's saying. I think it's the absolute right thing for us to do. It's the right direction for us to be moving in. And I'm excited to see the style of football that we try and implement next year. I'm really excited about that.
I think it's a new beginning. Like, it almost feels like a breath of fresh air for United. You've needed this for a long time. You've now got Ten Hag's role has been outlined as a head coach, and any problems or anything that goes on at the club will now be dealt with from the hierarchy. He's dealt with a number of things, the Maguire situation, Jadon Sancho, and the fact that he can kind of now be the head coach, and you're bringing in an actual, looks like a very good coaching system, similar to what Liverpool are doing with bringing in Edwards and Hughes and just saying to Slot, your role is the coach. I don't see a downside at all. I think you're moving in the right direction. The style of play will be the question mark, because Ten Hag at Ajax, when he had one of the best systems in the world in terms of producing talent, it worked for him. Your signings this window, will be massively important going into the season, especially that the defense side of things. But I do think it's a step in the right direction for Man United. I think if you're a United fan, it's kind of like today feels like a new day of a new era.
Yeah.
Terry, I've not heard you say you're excited more than since the new ownership have taken over. All your whole fan base should have a level of excitement about the possibilities with somebody heading in, seems like, in the right direction.
You would think that the problem that a lot of United fans have is that they're still convinced that you just need a top class manager or coach and you'll be okay. They are ignoring. And so it's like double-edged. The people that back Ten Hag, if he starts being successful next year, will say, see, told you we should have stuck with him. And there's an element of truth to that, but they'll ignore that the whole new structure is part of the reason that he's been elevated. But I don't necessarily blame Ten Hag for that. One argument that was thrown at me many times when I wanted him gone is that, Terry, do you not think he could be successful under a new structure? I never disagreed with that train of thought. I still think it would have been a better option if we could find a better coach to start completely afresh. But I wasn't married to that idea. I'm objective about it, and I'm quite happy to see how this translates. There's some Man United fans who are just angry that Ten Hag's here and they can't see that there'll be improvements even with the new structure. But these are the individuals that every time a manager's been sacked have said this squad's good enough to win, just bring me a talented manager. So it doesn't even matter that they were right about a certain manager not succeeding. The reasons we didn't succeed, they were wrong about. And that's the problem with a lot of these conversations and debates. People don't dig deep enough. The amount, I mean, Gal, you've been doing shows with us on here for 5-6 years, and you know how regularly I've spoken about this. I'm not stating that Ollie was going to be good enough to win us the league title, but I never felt that just sacking him alone and making no fundamental changes at structure level of the club, board level at the club, I always said we'd be back in disaster zone again. And every time a manager got sacked, we got me and Neeks and Canadian Cam, we all got so you've got to go and apologize to these creators that said the manager weren't good enough. And we all said the same thing. No, we're still right. Not because the argument for us was never about the manager per se. It was about the wider issues. And when you think about a brand new board, new people running the medical department, new scouts, new coaches, the only element that stays the same is the current head coach. And that's because Man United interviewed a number of people and didn't feel a candidate was largely superior to Ten Hag. So it makes there was never any point sacking him to bring somebody in that the new board didn't believe was exponentially better. There's no point sacking him for someone that is 3 points a season better. Why? It makes no mileage. It needed to be somebody that completely moved the needle. Wow, this person has blown us away with what we're trying to build, and they're going to help get us to, into the stratosphere, as it were. But I am excited about it. I'm calm though at the same time, and this is where Man United fans will do this more than rivals, although rivals will do it. Terry, you said you were excited and you're still only 5th in the league. I'm not expecting us to challenge for the Premier League next year. I'm not expecting us to be a well-oiled machine that's perfect next season. But I do expect the football to be better. I expect, as Paddy just said, how many leaks are you seeing coming out of United at the minute that are negative, that are problematic about the football club? Everything's calmer. Everything's more together. We've put a few bids in. No one's really buying anyone right now because of the tournaments that are on, but we've put a few bids in. We're not panicking with them. I like it. So I'm really comfortable with where we are right now. And my only message to Man United fans saying that the new ownership have done nothing as of yet, I think you're radio rental, which is Cockney rhyming slang for mental, if you believe that nothing has been done. Because before we start buying the players, we had to build the foundation. And I think we've done a really good job with the people that have come into the club thus far. So yeah, as a Man United fan, I'm excited to see sort of the progression in the coming days, weeks, and months in relation to United.